All right, welcome everyone. Excited for today's deep dive. We're tackling a recipe, actually, and a pretty tempting one at that.
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
Well, it's from the good folks over at Fork and Fry. You know that blog, right? They do some great recipe breakdowns. Anyway, this one's for their, get this, ultimate grouper sandwich.
Ultimate, huh? Now that's a claim. Color me intrigued.
Right. So we're going to dig in, not just read the recipe, but like really get into the details. What makes this sandwich so special? You know, what choices did they make and why? Whether you're, I don't know, a seafood fanatic or just someone who enjoys a tasty and quick meal, there's got to be something here for everyone.
I love that approach. I mean, anyone can follow a recipe,
Right.
but understanding the reasoning behind it, that's where the real learning and honestly the fun comes in.
Exactly. So first things first, setting the scene. Fork and Fry, they call this a Florida classic, a grouper sandwich. But they also mention you can prepare it in a bunch of ways. Grilled, fried, you can even blacken it. But the recipe, the one we're looking at, it focuses on frying. What are your thoughts on that versatility right off the bat?
Well, it speaks to the nature of grouper itself, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's a firm fish, white fish, so it can stand up to some pretty intense cooking. Direct heat of the grill, those bold spices if you blacken it, and of course the whole frying process.
Yeah, the fact that it works across those different methods, it definitely says something about the core idea of the sandwich itself.
Absolutely. It's going to
Yeah.
be a pretty solid foundation to handle all that.
And another thing they highlight is the prep time. Around 20 minutes total. I mean, that's got to be a win for most folks, especially these days.
Oh, for sure. That kind of efficiency usually means you're working with fresh, high-quality ingredients, stuff that doesn't need a ton of work to taste amazing.
Smart techniques, too, right? Like maximum impact with minimal time in the kitchen.
You got it. So are we ready to dive into the heart of this recipe then?
Let's do it. Starting with the star of the show, fresh grouper fillets, about 6 ounces each. Now, when it comes to seafood, you can't skimp on freshness, can you?
Absolutely not. Freshness is non-negotiable, especially with fish. And those 6-ounce portions, that's a good size for a sandwich, you know. Hearty, but not overwhelming.
Makes sense. And speaking of flavor, let's talk seasoning. Fork and Fry keeps it pretty straightforward. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and just a touch of cayenne pepper. Classic lineup, but each one's there for a reason, I'd imagine.
Oh, definitely. You've got your salt and pepper, the essentials, enhancing the natural taste of the grouper. Garlic powder adds that nice savory depth. Paprika brings a bit of sweetness, some color too. And that little pinch of cayenne, just a tiny kick. Not too much, but enough to keep things interesting.
It's a balanced approach, right? Like complementing the grouper without overpowering it.
Exactly. They're not trying to mask the fish. They're trying to elevate it.
Love that. Okay, now for the crispy part, the part everyone loves, the coating. And they don't mess around here. It's a three-step process. Flour, then a buttermilk egg mix, and finally a blend of panko breadcrumbs and cornmeal. That's got to be more than just a random choice, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is a carefully crafted system for maximum crispiness. That first layer of flour, it creates a dry surface for the buttermilk egg to cling to. And the buttermilk itself, it's not just about flavor. The acidity actually tenderizes the fish a bit. Think of it as prepping the surface.
Ah, so it's doing double duty. I never really thought about buttermilk like that.
Then you've got the egg
Yeah.
acting as the glue for the final layer. And that blend of panko and cornmeal, that's where the magic happens. Panko, with its larger flakes and air pockets, it gets super light and crispy when fried. And the cornmeal, it adds another layer of crunch, a different kind of texture.
So they're really building up that crispy exterior. Very clever.
It's a texture party.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then they call for brioche buns specifically. They even mention their soft texture and the subtle sweetness. I bet that plays nicely against the crispy fish and the tangy tartar sauce.
Oh, for sure. Brioche is a great choice. That softness contrasts beautifully with the crispy coating. And that little bit of sweetness, it helps balance the richness of the fried fish, the acidity of the sauce. It's all about harmony in the bite, you see.
It's all coming together now. And speaking of balance, let's not forget the classic supporting players. Lettuce, tomato, red onion, and pickles. They always seem to find their way onto a good sandwich. Any thoughts on this particular lineup?
Well, it's classic for a reason, right? You get that fresh crispness from the lettuce, juiciness from the tomato, a little sharp bite from the red onion, and then the pickles with that vinegary tang cut through all the richness.
It's a solid team, but I guess you could always switch things up a bit depending on your preference.
Absolutely, you can customize. But this is a great starting point. Tried and true.
Now, for the secret weapon, as Fork and Fry calls it, the homemade tartar sauce. They use mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, chopped capers, and relish. Sounds a lot more interesting than just grabbing a jar from the store, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Homemade is the way to go with tartar sauce. You control the quality, the balance of flavors. The mayo creates the creamy base. Dijon adds a little kick. Lemon juice brightens it up. Then you get those salty bursts from the capers and a touch of sweetness from the relish.
It's all about those layers of flavor, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's the perfect partner for fried fish. The acidity cuts through the richness, the brininess, just complements it so well.
Makes sense. Okay, let's get into the how-to, the techniques that make this sandwich so special. They start by really emphasizing that you got to pat those grouper fillets dry before seasoning. Why is that step so important?
Oh, that's crucial for crispiness. Any extra moisture on the fish, it'll prevent the flour from sticking properly. You'll end up with a soggy mess instead of that beautiful crisp coating. And seasoning evenly. That ensures every bite is flavorful, not just some parts.
Attention to detail, Britt.
Every step matters. Then comes the breading station. They recommend 3 separate bowls, in the right order, of course.
It's all about that organized, efficient process.
Right, and then the goal is a thick, even coating on the fish.
Any tips for nailing that?
Work methodically. Make sure each fillet gets fully coated in each bowl. Let excess drip off. When you get to the panko cornmeal, press it on gently. Make sure it sticks, and don't overcrowd the bowls. Do 1 or 2 fillets at a time. That keeps the breading from getting clumpy.
Smart. Now, the frying itself. They call for an oil temperature of 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and they even give a tip for testing it without a thermometer. Why is that specific temperature so important?
It's all about balance. If the oil's too cool, the breading absorbs too much oil, it gets greasy, heavy, too hot, and the outside burns before the inside cooks. That 350-degree sweet spot, it gives you that golden brown, crispy exterior and a flaky, juicy inside.
Ah, that's the dream, right? That perfect combination of textures.
Exactly. Crispy giving way to tender. That's what makes fried food so irresistible.
And they have a trick for checking the oil temp, right? Without a thermometer.
Yeah. Drop a few breadcrumbs in the oil. If they sizzle and turn golden in about 30 seconds, you're good to go.
Brilliant. Okay, back to that secret weapon tartar sauce. They make it sound pretty simple, just mixing the ingredients together. But it's that specific combination that elevates it, right?
You got it. It's the interplay of all those flavors.
Yeah.
The creamy mayo, the tang from the Dijon and lemon juice, the little salty pops from the capers, and then that touch of sweetness from the relish. That's the classic tartar sauce profile. It just works.
Decades of sandwich science in that sauce.
Pretty much. Okay, so sandwich assembly time. Fork and Fry suggests lightly toasting those brioche buns. Good move, I'd say.
Prevents the sogginess, adds some texture.
Exactly. And then the layering. Tartar sauce goes down first, then the crispy grouper, and finally the fresh toppings.
Is there a reason for that order?
Keeps the fish moist. Putting it right on the sauce ensures good contact and the cool, fresh toppings on top. They provide a nice contrast in every bite.
Makes perfect sense. They also mentioned some serving suggestions. Classic fries or a light salad on the side.
Nice classic pairings. And they even have a little tip for spice lovers.
Yeah.
Add some hot sauce to the tartar sauce. Bit of customization.
Always good to have options. Well, I think we've gone pretty deep on this ultimate grouper sandwich. What's your final verdict?
It's a well-thought-out recipe. They've clearly paid attention to the details, the balance of flavors and textures, and the steps are laid out in a way that even someone who's not a seasoned cook could follow.
I agree. It feels achievable, but with the potential to be really special.
Exactly. And you can see the experience behind it. It builds trust in the recipe.
Absolutely. If you're feeling inspired, you can find the full recipe with step-by-step instructions and even photos over at www.forkandfry.com. They really encourage people to, explore cooking at home, have fun with it. Maybe this sandwich is your gateway to becoming a seafood master.
It's a great starting point for
Yeah.
sure. And it might just inspire you to create your own variations. That's the beauty of understanding the principles behind a recipe.
Yeah.
It opens up so many possibilities.
That's what we love to see. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive. Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you try the recipe, let us know how it goes. Share your pictures, your tweaks, anything. Hit us up on our social media pages. And don't forget to check out www.forkandfry.com for more delicious recipes and cooking inspiration.
Great resource.
Definitely. Happy cooking, everyone. We'll catch you on our next deep dive.